Hey everyone, Bryant, Dillon from Fanbase Press here. We're at Long Beach Comic-Con 2016 here in Artist Alley. I'm here with comic book creator Michael Tanner. Michael, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right.
Excellent. Well, you've got some awesome books here. We've got Junior Braves of the Apocalypse and Jam, Tales from the World of Roller Derby. So let's start off with Junior Braves of the Apocalypse. Give us a quick breakdown for people who aren't familiar with the book.
All right. Well, Junior Braves of the Apocalypse is a young adult survival horror graphic novel series about the Junior Braves, who are an outdoor wilderness organization like the Boy Scouts, but not the Boy Scouts. They go on a week-long camping trip. When they return, their hometown is destroyed, their families are missing, it's been overrun by zombie mutant creatures. So they have to use all of their Junior Brave skills to survive in this dangerous new world.
And besides you, who's the creative team on the book?
Co-creator is Greg Smith, and the artist is Zach Lerner, or Lehner. I've known the guy 5 years. I'm still not sure how to pronounce his last name.
I love that. He's flexible, obviously, with the pronunciation.
He's okay with whatever we call him.
Excellent. Now, the first question that immediately comes to mind for me is, were you a Boy Scout yourself?
I was a Cub Scout. I never crossed over to Boy Scouts, but Greg and Zach both did. And I know Zach is a Eagle Scout.
Oh, wow. So he made it all the way through.
Oh, yeah, he's legit. Legit survival skills with that kid.
So where did the concept come? Was it from their experiences, your experiences camping, or was it more? Are you guys more zombie fans? What was really the boiling cauldron that this came out of?
It actually came in the form of a text message from Greg, where the text message just said "Scouts versus Zombies," and this was several years ago. So we're like, oh, that sounds pretty neat. And I've been a zombie fan since I was traumatized by the original Dawn of the Dead, because I saw a part of that movie when I was about 7 years old, which is way too young to see any part of that movie. So that gave me nightmares, and I was afraid of the dark from that point on. And then as a teenager, I had completely suppressed that memory until I was watching Dawn of the Dead really late at night, and the scene came on, and I was like, this is the movie that traumatized me as a kid. I saw this, I remember this. And from that point on, I became a huge zombie fan. So it was like this combination of like, hey, we have this interesting concept, and I was like, I love zombies. I would love to tell a zombie mutant monster story. Because it was important for us to make the zombies, to make the creatures not just traditional zombies. A lot of it was kind of going with sort of post-apocalyptic fiction where there's the idea of the mutant, like humans who have been like horribly disfigured by radiation or disease or whatever. So we're like, let's make them these zombie mutant monster creatures. So that they used to be people they knew, but now they're these monsters. So we wanted to take it a little bit further than just being like, it's Walking Dead with kids.
So do you feel is this a comic that is going to be enjoyed by people who are just fans of the zombie genre, or are there other elements, other things that people might be fans of that would key them into to basically liking this book?
The book is really funny. Not to toot our own horn or my own horn, the book is really funny. Like, I'm very proud of the humor in the book. It's a all ages book or young adult book, but we have parents who love it and we have little kids who love it. So it's definitely like a book that, like, we've had situations where adults have bought it for their kids and then read it themselves, and the whole family enjoys it.
Awesome.
So there's like the adventure element with the kids fighting monsters and surviving, but there's also, we tried to put in a little bit deeper stuff, which, not to give spoilers for the book, where ultimately this is planned to be a 5-book series.
Okay.
In some ways, each book is an exploration of different societal templates. Like, essentially book 1 is kind of anarchy.
Okay.
And then book 2, no spoilers for book 2, should be available next summer, is kind of this exploration of a harsh, not monarchy, but kind of like a dictatorship.
Okay.
And then book 3 explores different kind of structures of societies. So we don't hit people over the head with it, but it's definitely an element that's going to run through every single book.
And you mentioned it being enjoyed by families. So what's like the age range that this book's appropriate for?
We say safely 10 and up, but we've had 8-year-olds who've been given the book and read it and love it. So there are 1 or 2 instances where we very consciously went a little too far because it's supposed to be a little jarring, where it should be the kids should be a little uncomfortable or a little like have to ask their parent about something, but it's nothing too bad. Just definitely like some choices and some language choices that are meant to give parents and kids pause.
Okay. And so let's talk also about Jam. For people that might know Fanbase Press, we recently were at a roller derby event that you set up with Derby Dolls. So you are clearly have a background in the roller derby world. How did that lead to Jam, and what's Jam about?
So Jam is an anthology series that was put out a few years ago by Oni Press, where they put out a call for people involved in roller derby to write comic book stories, and then they'd be paired with comic book artists. At that time, I'd been a referee for several years for the Los Angeles Derby Dolls. I was like, and I always wanted to get into comics, and I was like, this is meant to be. So I wrote a story that was kind of an ode to the referees and submitted it, and it was one of the stories chosen. So they partnered me with an artist, and then that was like my first comic book experience, and my first published work was in this, which actually kind of directly led to Junior Braves in that being a known quantity, like, oh, this guy can tell a comic book story, and then having a personal relationship with someone who went on to become an editor at Oni Press, he was able to say, we know this guy can work in the format, we know like he has a little bit of experience, let's look at this pitch. And so they looked at the pitch from Greg and I, and they liked it enough, they're like, we want to do this book. So like doing Jam several years ago ultimately led to being able to have some proven work that led to Junior Braves.
Well, that's awesome. So that was really your door into comics.
Yeah.
Well, what is the age range for this book, would you say? Is it similar?
Not at all. Jam is definitely met older. I would say it's meant for adults.
Okay.
Like some of the stories, I don't think any of the stories are like graphic, but it's definitely there's swearing.
Okay.
There's like roller derby violence, so it's a lot of elbows and stuff, a little bloody, but definitely not for kids.
All right, excellent. So as we're wrapping up the interview, one of the questions we like to ask as Fanbase Press is we're always interested in what people are fans of, and it doesn't have to be connected to the comic book universe. It can be if you want, but what are you currently a fan of that you would recommend to our viewers to check out?
In video games, I am a huge fan of Fallout.
Okay.
I love the heck out of the Fallout universe. And in comics, I'll say one of my 2 favorite characters in Marvel Comics are the Vision and the Scarlet Witch. And they both have solo series right now, which are both incredible for very different reasons. So I definitely, if you're for mainstream superhero comics, the Vision solo book and the Scarlet Witch solo book.
All right, and finally, if people aren't here at Long Beach Comic Con, they want to check out Jam, Junior Braves Apocalypse, or just find you online, where would they do so?
My personal website is bymichaeltanner.com. By B-Y, not B-U-I, but you can B-U-I the book from links on my website. You can also get Junior Braves on Amazon or barnesandnoble.com. And I always like to plug barnesandnoble.com because Barnes & Noble was a huge supporter of Junior Braves when it first. They basically almost bought the entire first run of the book. So if you're going to buy it online, buy it from barnesandnoble.com so they don't return them and cost me money.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for talking with us, Michael.
Thank you.
Once again, this is Bryant Dillon here at Long Beach Comic Con 2016. If you want to see more interviews like this one, go to fanbasepress.com.